Hey everybody, it's Alan from Woodcrest Bonsai, and in this video I just wanted to do a real quick update on both of my bald cypress grove plantings. This is what I call my bald cypress dome, and this is how they grow in nature in many places in Florida. So we have a habitat in Florida called pine flatwoods, and it's very flat land, and it's predominantly pine trees / pine and palmettos and some other understory plants. And that habitat is maintained by fire. In the spring, when things are really dry, which it was really dry this spring, April and May were bone dry, fire comes through and basically burns all your oaks and your maples and your hickories, and the pines and the palmettos are resistant to fire. However, in that landscape, there's also lower parts of the land, what you'd call a hammock, and that's where the bald cypress domes grow. And this is trying to depict that. And wow, I'm so happy with the way this thing has been growing. It's just doing beautifully. And these are only a 1.5 year old seedlings. So that's even more phenomenal, at least to me. And I did some work. I have a playlist on this guy where I have been doing some work. One of the things I did is I tried to get just one single leader and remove the rest. And now there are some trees, like this one here has 2 leaders. So I can probably go through and take one of those off. But what I've been doing mostly over the past month or so since I did the last video was just pinching. I'm just pinching out the tops, sometimes daily, depending on what I think needs it. And I'm trying to get that dome. My parent tree is still a little bit high, but I don't want to cut it down. I want to let these guys grow. So there's many trees in here, which may also need to be modified over time. But that's okay, because for now, I'm just going to enjoy the look. It's just really looking so nice. And just pinching the new growth is really all I've been doing lately. And I took a trip over to north central Florida, and you pass by these groves, these domes, and so that's where I got my inspiration from. And it's interesting because the sun is behind. It's very early in the morning, and I don't know if you noticed, but there's also a tremendous amount of dew on this guy. And that's because last night we had thunderous rain, and thank God, because April and May were so dry. And I know we're still in May. And the rainy season typically starts the 1st of June, where I am. And it can be early, like the last week in May, and that's what has happened this year. So we've had, out of the last 6 days, we've had 5 days of heavy rain. Not all day. It's a beautiful bright morning. Then the clouds build, and then they move over, and it pours rain, and then they move off. And depending on the time of day, it can be another bright sunny day again. And another interesting little tidbit that I found is this little seedling right here. I've been talking about it as a ficus that one day I'm going to snag out of there and put into a different pot. But I'm looking at it and I'm saying, that doesn't look like a ficus. And sure enough, it is a camphor. And if you've ever taken any camphor kind of medicine, this is where it comes from. Humans have been able to synthesize in the laboratory many artificial colors and sweeteners and flavors, but they have never been able to duplicate camphor. So if you're buying a product with camphor, and it's like lip balm and painkiller, not relaxers, but muscle balm, it's a camphor tree. And so that is really quite amazing. And the way I figured it out was I just pinched a leaf and then smelled it. And it's camphor. So that's interesting. So I'm really loving this grove. I'm now going to show you the much, much smaller. I call this my dome. And then the other one is a forest planting. Very similar, but in a smaller pot and smaller trees. So I will show you that right now. So here is my bald cypress grove, and it certainly has very similar form as the big one. This is in a Sarah Rayner pot. It's the largest Sarah Rayner pot that I have, and I just absolutely fell in love with her pots. I actually went to a convention in Atlanta in 1998, and she was a vendor there, and I bought every pot I could possibly carry. And I was flying. I flew up there with my girlfriend at the time, and oh God, I just fell in love with her pots. If I had been independently wealthy and had a different vehicle, I'd have probably bought twice as many, or maybe even more than that. I just love her stuff. And in fact, this pot here I couldn't even carry because of the restrictions of my luggage. So a buddy of mine who also came up to that same convention brought her back in his car, which I always thought was funny. But this is another, it's very similar to the last one. The last one, I planted seed individually in that pot. And that's why you get that randomness. This one, they were seedlings in a different seedling tray. And I lifted this whole thing up out of that tray, and there was many more trees in the back, in the front, different places. And this was sort of at an angle in that rectangular seed bed. So I took this whole group, root pruned it, and put it in this pot as a unit. So they're not individually planted. They all just... And I love that, because the randomness of the trunks is so natural. It's so hard to do that for me as a human, because I'm so, OCD. So a lot of times when I make a forest, it looks like little soldiers because they're all exactly the same place. So having Mother Nature do it is far superior than my pitiful attempt. So I just love this too. I'm just enjoying this. I have some previous videos on this guy too, which I will leave at the end of this video that you can click on and watch the development of this guy. And this is pretty much the same thing as the last one. I'm now just pinching. And it's just a beautiful, clear morning. Some incredibly wispy, thin clouds. But by this afternoon, it could be slamming down rain. And we need it. We need it so badly. I never complain about rain. Unless my house is flooding and moving down the street, I don't complain about rain. We need rain. So it's been nice. So there you go. 2 bald cypress grove plantings. One I call my dome, and this one is the grove. And although it doesn't look like it, this one probably has about half as many trees as the other. That pot is 30 inches, and I think this pot is 20 inches. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but as far as actual square footage, surface area, it's considerably larger. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying the development of these guys. And once again, these are only 1.5-year-old seedlings. They were planted as seed in January, February / 2024. So I'm just amazed at how well they've developed. So thank you so much for watching the Woodcrest Bonsai.